They brought his casket to City Hall and called for accountability. Jordell Richardson's family is calling on Aurora police to release all the video they have of the shooting of the 14-year-old boy.
The family and faith leaders and community activists held a short memorial and rally on the steps of the Aurora Municipal Center. And then they marched right up Alameda, escorting the hearse carrying Jordell's remains. 9 News reporter Steve Staker followed along with that march. Steve, we have a peaceful procession tonight.
It certainly was, Kyle. In fact, this was a very well-organized demonstration. They had volunteers all along the way to make sure that cars didn't interfere with the folks who were marching up Alameda. This large crowd, they had a message. They were upset with Aurora's interim police chief, claiming that he withheld information about this case for a long time. And the large group certainly made a very powerful statement.
Clearly, the sky is crying today. For Jordell.
A rainy Friday evening couldn't keep the crowd away.
I thank everybody for showing love to my brother. It means a lot.
On the steps of the city that employs the man who killed their son, 14-year-old Jor'dell Richardson's family mourned.
I won't get to see him graduate high school, go to prom, start his own family, because a police officer felt like he gave my son the sentence he wanted him to have, and he took him from me.
And called for accountability.
I just want to say that I don't care what my brother did. That didn't give you the right to shoot him at all.
There is no justice. I hear you shouting you want justice, but we will not get justice. Justice is Jordell walking through his mother's front door.
An Aurora officer shot Richardson on June 1st after a robbery at a liquor store. Body camera video released by police doesn't show whether Richardson had his hand on a weapon at the time of the shooting. And it took Aurora Police Chief Art Acevedo 8 days to reveal the weapon he was carrying was a pellet gun.
I know you tried to be transparent. We're here to say you failed. You failed this family. You failed Jordell. You failed this community.
Jor'dell Richardson!
After a memorial and rally in the rain, the large crowd of family and people who didn't even know the 14-year-old marched. They marched beside the hearse carrying Jordell's casket.
Up with the people!
Up Alameda and back. A clear sign a community wants more.
Jordell deserved better.
Well, the family is calling on Aurora police and anyone investigating this shooting to release all of the video from the shooting. They want to see every different angle to see what actually happened through the course of this. The 18th Judicial District has a critical response team that's looking at this shooting, investigating it. The officer involved in the shooting on paid administrative leave until then. And also, the Aurora Police Department has launched an internal affairs investigation into this shooting. We're in Aurora. Steve Staker, 9 News.
Steve, it really seems like Interim Chief Acevedo's handling of the situation, the way that he has talked about it in public, some of the phrases that he's used, has actively inflamed the situation, made a bad situation worse, it seems.
Yeah, there were calls on the steps here today for Interim Chief Art Acevedo to resign because of this. The attorney for the family stepped in front of the crowd, said he owes this family an apology. He owes this family all the information about this case because of the way it was handled from the beginning. And then he went one step further and said the chief should resign.
Steve Staker reporting from Aurora. Thank you, Steve. At least 2 of the people hit by gunfire in LoDo early Tuesday morning are still in the hospital. Happened at 20th and Market. It was after most Nuggets fans celebrating the championship in that area had cleared out. Keith Sablon and Trajan Hamilton were there with friends. Another friend told us that Keith has been shot in the abdomen and the leg.
He's in pretty rough shape. He's got a long road of recovery ahead of him, but he's in really high spirits. He's just that kind of guy that's gonna, have a smile on his face and be cracking jokes even in these circumstances.
2 men are in custody. So far, each of them face a single charge of weapons possession by a previous offender. Neither has been charged with the shooting itself.
It was a shootout between police and a guy barricaded inside an Englewood home. But the suspect's brother, who was in that home also and allegedly trying to help defuse the situation, ended up dead. Today, nearly a year after this happened, we learned the officers will not face any criminal charges. This case is under a gag order, meaning details have been sparse. Even this letter from January, the district attorney's office clearing the officers of criminal charges, wasn't approved for public release by the courts until now. In it, we get a clearer picture of the night of July 24th, 2022. Dispatchers got a call from the mother of Philip Blankenship, who said her son was drunk and shooting a gun in the house. She later said that her younger son, Matthew Mitchell, was also inside the house and now had the gun. Officers set up a perimeter around the home and ordered the pair to come outside multiple times. According to this letter, Matthew told police to give them a minute and that he was trying to talk his brother down. This letter describes a chaotic next few minutes of gunfire back and forth. At least 2 shots fired from inside the house, a puff of smoke captured on body camera video, and 23 shots fired from police back toward the house by Officer Dirk Smith and Officer Aaron Jarrett. Officers said they couldn't tell if there were 1 or 2 shooters inside. Eventually, Philip Blankenship came outside and was arrested. Police later found Matthew Mitchell dead inside the living room. Investigators recovered 2 guns from inside the house. Officer Smith told investigators he was certain the person he fired at was the person who shot at officers. But Philip Blankenship told investigators he was the only shooter in the house, that his brother, Matthew Mitchell, never fired at police. Investigators tried to test a metal fragment they found during Matthew's autopsy to see if it came from the officer's gun. The DA's letter said that fragment was, quote, not suitable for comparison. The DA said that Officer Smith likely killed Matthew Mitchell, but said both officers reasonably feared for their lives. Blankenship faces 2 charges of attempted first-degree murder for firing at officers.
Douglas County School Board members, the ones who met in secret to fire the former Superintendent Corey Wise, they broke the law when they did that. Douglas County judge made the ruling today. The judge said that the conservative school board majority, so Board President Mike Peterson, board members Christy Williams, Becky Myers, and Kaylee Winiger, broke open meetings law when they had private conversations about sacking the superintendent before they talked publicly about telling him to go. Superintendent refused. He forced the conservative majority to fire him in public at a meeting last year. The board members that night struggled to articulate any reason that they were firing him. The judge did not issue a permanent injunction in the case. He said he doesn't think that the board majority is going to hold secret meetings again. There were a slew of severe thunderstorm warnings across the state today, with some of the biggest hail coming down in Lyman this afternoon. Lauren, yikes, that is bigger than golf ball, is it not?
Yeah, we did get some reports of some pretty large hail. We even got warnings for tennis ball sized hail across the plains, and we're continuing to monitor those same storms moving their way out now. Here in the 9 News backyard, no storms, just some light drizzle. Most of Denver going to see some light showers as opposed to those heavier storms off in the plains. But let's go ahead and take a look at our current conditions right now at DIA. 53 degrees. We have some light rain there, winds coming in from the east at around 8 miles per hour. But we are going to continue to monitor our HD Doppler radar through the rest of the evening, and that's because the eastern half of the state still seeing heavy showers. So showers across the Front Range, storms across the eastern plains, and you can see further south lots of lightning bolts there. That's also where we have a lot of alerts in effect. As we take a closer look into Denver, we're not going to see any more heavy rainfall, but we could see some lighter showers as we go later into this evening. Now, with those alerts that are in effect mostly across the plains and in central portions of the Front Range, we do still have flash flood watches, in effect until 10 o'clock. We have flash flood warnings that'll be in effect until 9:45. All of these areas, the green and the purple, you want to make sure you're aware of rapidly rising waters. And the areas that are specifically under more of a threat are the Cameron Peak Burn Scar and the Palmer Divide. We're also going to watch for those heavier showers all across the plains. Along with heavier showers, we could still see those stronger storms across central and southern portions of the plains where you see that yellow circle. That's a slight risk for severe weather. That's going to be the most intense storms. So we did see some large hail being produced there. We're going to continue to watch for hail chances even as those temperatures cool down for the evening. But the bigger threats will continue to be the heavy rainfall and those strong winds, lots of lightning and thunder. So we're going to continue to monitor that through the rest of the evening. You do want to watch for that flooding out there. But the good news is I do have a sunny Father's Day and a sunny week ahead in my 7-day forecast. So you'll want to make sure you stay tuned.
Thank you, Lauren. The specifics still have to be worked out, but armed police officers are going to come back to Denver school campuses. Denver School Board voted last night to bring school resource officers back after the recent shootings and other safety problems. Now the details, how many officers, where they'll be stationed, who pays for the officers, that has not been worked out. School Board President Xochitl Gaitan says Superintendent Dr. Alex Marrero will now figure all that out with Denver Police. The police chief, Ron Thomas, issued a statement today saying he's pleased with the board's decision and looks forward to working on that plan.
DPS did finish out this school year with armed officers. They brought them back on a temporary basis after 2 shootings at East High School. But how the school board went about deciding that is a secret. And DPS went to court this morning trying to keep it that way. The board had an emergency meeting after the second shooting at East. That was when a student on a safety plan shot 2 deans, searching him for weapons. Board members went into executive session, a meeting behind closed doors for about 5 hours. Then they unanimously voted to bring SROs back temporarily without any discussion. 9 News and several other media organizations sued DPS to try and get the recording of what was said behind closed doors. The district's lawyer told a judge releasing that tape could be harmful to parents, and that the board did its best following that shooting.
The assailant is on the run. You have 2 individuals who are injured, who are employees. I think that you could say, is there a desire to glorify a school shooting? We all know what happened.
Its 5-hour discussion behind closed doors was not an executive session, but an unlawfully closed public meeting, and the recording of that meeting is a public record.
The hearing this morning was the first step in this case, where both sides got to make their arguments in front of a judge. The judge said he will now rule on the next steps.
Each violent incident involving a young person worries community leaders who fear that this summer, given the sheer number of guns in the hands of kids, that we could be looking at a summer of violence like the infamous stretch in 1993. 9 News reporter Cole Sullivan shows us how those community leaders are trying to stop it.
We have an epidemic of youth violence.
In a church gym near City Park Tuesday, community leaders searched for solutions.
You can't just meet every time somebody gets shot.
Solutions to a spike in youth gun violence.
The best way you keep the gun out of the hands of a 17-year-old is you put a passion in that kid's hands when he's 12.
They know the topic requires a full court press, from the district attorney
It needs to start earlier.
to school leaders like East High Principal Tarita Walker.
I am in the business of creating opportunities for kids. And if they are not alive to receive those opportunities, then I am not doing my job.
The number of kids under 18 killed or shot increased 53% last year.
I think that we need to do a better job as a community providing things for young people to do.
Denver Police Chief Ron Thomas worries this summer could be worse than last year, worse even than the infamous summer of violence in 1993.
You know, even the summer of '93, as violent as it was, we did not see the number of guns that we're currently seeing.
These community leaders and politicians don't want that.
We have a youth violence issue in Denver, and we have an inadequacy of proper funding.
They hope meetings like this will share ideas to help, because on this court, a winning score is measured in lives. Cole Sullivan, 9 News.
A federal investigation into the police department that murdered George Floyd has found that some of their practices violate the U.S. Constitution.
And a bear in Steamboat Springs broke into a house pretty easily. Getting back out, well, that was another story.